Hey guys, it's Simone here, and this is I don't even know now. We're doing a back to basics, so this is our fourth week of back to basics. Next week we do have one more back to basics scheduled, and hopefully this has helped you guys with all the things that have been going on. I know there's a lot of new people, and I know that it's just with the change, like with the catalog change and all that stuff. There's a lot of things going on, and the Back to Basics trainings are supposed to help you guys kind of supplement all the academy, the prep academy, and all the other trainings that we're already getting from Posh. So if you guys whether you are brand new or if you have been around for a while, be sure to go through the prep academy and all the different trainings that Posh has to offer, including the webinars, because a lot of the webinars are actually very reminiscent of the trainings that we are doing now. So if you guys have further questions or you guys want to hear other people talk about it, I know that the Posh just recently did a webinar for events with some of our top consultants that are huge event people. So be sure to check that out. So all those trainings are in the newsroom. So definitely check those out. I do highly recommend checking out lots of different people's trainings so that you can kind of get a feel for what you want to do, because everyone does things different and everyone runs their business a little bit differently. Okay, so we're going to talk about some parties and events. Now, we do have other trainings on this as well, but I wanted to bring it back again, bring this topic back up again and talk about the basics. So we're going to go over home parties, online parties, portable parties, and then vendor events, okay? Now, let's go over the party aspect of things. So we have essentially three different kinds of parties. We have the home party, the portable party, and the online party. For the most part, if they are doing a home party, then they are pretty much doing all three things. You don't really say that they're doing all these things, but if you have a home party hostess, then you are likely setting up a online event for them, a Facebook event for them, so that they can notify their guests and send reminders, all that fun stuff. So they obviously have a way for the guests to order if they're not able to attend the home event. So that's the online portion of that, right? And then for the majority of the time, you're going to give them a hostess packet. The hostess packet is going to include different things like expectations, how to order, how to place orders. You're going to give them catalogs, samples to pass out, business cards, all that fun stuff, because they're going to act like a mini consultant, and they're going to go out and tell people about this event that they're having at their house and how they want people to come. And it's really awesome if you can give out stuff that isn't going to be very easy for you to sample at the party. So anything really, but mini facials are obviously the biggest thing. Now, you can theme your home parties as well, so that you can encourage hostesses to host more than one time per catalog. As the summer is coming up, footsie parties are very popular, and you can do that very inexpensively with dollar store items to do kind of mini pedicures with all the guests. I do recommend that you guys try to keep that as simple as possible, and try to kind of and encourage the hostess to have no more than like 10 people. Keep it intimate, because again, it's a lot of work for something like that, like a footsie party. But you can have different themed parties, like you can focus on different categories each time. This encourages the hostess to host more than once, but it also makes it so it's not too overwhelming for guests. Like I said, you can do like facial party, you can do like the mini pedicure, you could do like go over scrubs, all that fun stuff. So that is your home party. That's a very basic home party. If you have not ever had a home party before, or like booked a home party, I do recommend that you try it out with yourself as the hostess. Have your launch party, do a new product launch. You can have your very own at-home girls' night. You can theme it in any way that you want. Like it could be like wine and masks or something like that. And so it's not all focused on the product. That's just like a fun thing to add into the pampering, right? So that's your kind of home party thing. If you guys take a look in the Posh box, there's a lot of resources for you for this. There is a hostess handbook in there that you can use to pass out to include in your hostess packets, and hostess packets obviously are going to be varied depending on whether or not you are sending them or whether or not you are like hand delivering them. If you meet up with your hostess beforehand for your home party, then obviously they're local. You can always give them, a few more catalogs than you might in sending them, just because it's not as expensive for you to ship it. Now, okay, so you have that home party. That was a home party. The portable party is when you give your hostess sample packs to pass out, and they're going to be able to collect orders. You can give them with order forms. Teach your hostess to be basically a mini consultant. It's like a trial consultant, and send her out with sample packs. The pricing guide's a good one, a catalog, and then she can go get the orders, or she can direct people to the website to order, right? So that is your portable party, and then you have your Facebook party, your online party. Now, I've seen people do it lots of different ways, and I've done it a couple of different ways. One way is doing live posting. So you spend about half an hour to an hour, and you're posting post after post. Keep in mind, you don't want to post so many posts so that people are overwhelmed, and you also want to make sure that you aren't posting too fast because you don't want to get into Facebook jail. But that is one way of doing it. We do have a mock party in the team page that goes over that, and we do have some templates in the files as well. So that gives you an idea. You could do something like that. However, the big trend right now, and something that I do recommend that you guys do, is throw in Facebook Live for your events, for your Facebook events. This Facebook Live gives you a chance to interact with the guests. They can ask questions. They can see the products. They can actually, there's more of a relationship building when you're doing that. And it's scary at first, but it's one of those things that takes practice, and sometimes no one's going to be on, and that's okay. But what's great about it is it records, and people can watch it later. So even if you're feeling like, what's the point? You never know. Someone might be watching later, and they might be wondering about that face wash that you were showing them, right? Or how you were showing them how to use a lip scrub. And I try to keep those simple. I know that there are different variations of the live parties. You can do a half hour, you could do an hour. I don't think more than an hour is common, and I don't necessarily recommend it because you don't want your guests to be there all night. You want to keep their attention. But obviously it depends on your guests, and it depends on what works for you. I do like the format of the half hour, the 30-minute Facebook party. And I tried to post that link, and some of you guys were not able to get in there, but I think it's because it was an older event. However, I will do a mock up of that one and kind of share with you guys my tips of that one so that we have that resource for you guys. But in all of these party cases, all these different options for parties, one of the biggest things that I need to stress to you is to work on hostess coaching. That can make or break your party, and that is really one of the things that can be overlooked and something that might be a little bit scary and outside your comfort zone. But a party isn't necessarily the time put into a party is not just when you're at the party. So whether it's a home party or if it's an online party, that's not the point. You have to also prep for the party, and in prepping, that's where you're putting together the hostess packet. That's when you're coming up with whatever posts you're posting, right? Coming up with your event, all that stuff. But part of that is the hostess coaching, and hostess coaching really means kind of telling the hostess what type of expectations, what you expect from her. What's her job? What's her role in the party, and what is it that you want her to be doing, so that she has a better idea of what is going on. So we do have some graphics on that, so be sure to check that out. But really, you don't necessarily have to stay in contact like all the time, but make sure the dates are okay, set everything up, and let her know what it is that you expect of her, basically, right? Like, if it's a home party, you can tell her, snacks are great, but they're not necessary. All you really, you want her to do is, for any option, you want them to personally talk to their guests. You want them to personally invite their guests. You want them to talk about the products, why they why they love the products, why they're having an event, and then of course remind their guests and get people to the party. And then at the party, so if it's a home or online, participate. And that's not usually hard, but sometimes people just need a little bit of a reminder that they can join in, that you want them to join in. You want them to ask questions. You want them to ask questions. You want them to join in. You want them to share their reviews and their favorite products. So that is part of the hostess coaching, and that's part of how you can have a successful party. Now, when you're doing your party, obviously you're sharing what you love, but you want to make sure that you're also trying to you want to get a way to be able to follow up with these customers, whether they are ordering at the party or not. So have some you can have some sort of incentive if they join, or a game or something, to join your VIP group, or to leave their email address to get onto your email newsletter. But that's the way, that way they're able to stay in contact with you, and that you have their information for later in case you want to, so that you can follow up with them later. Like, hey, I know, this part, I know you were really liking the mask at this person's party. I just wanted to let you know that this one came out, it was very similar, and I really thought you might like it. How would you like to try it? That kind of thing. Another thing to think about when you're doing a party is you need to have a way for people to know that you want them to book. You want bookings off of that event as well, because that's how you're going to be able to keep things in the pipeline, and to be able to keep your business running. So if you can get the goal, I guess, is to have at least three parties booked off of each party. And that might be scary for a lot of you, and I know that it's not necessarily, like, not all parties are going to go well. It's going to be hit or miss. But the reason why there's three is, one, to replace the one that just happened, another one just in case one of the parties don't happen for whatever reason, and then another one in order to grow your business. So you have three. So if you try to aim for three and throw in an incentive of some kind, if the hostess is able to get 3 bookings off of her party, then you're going to be able to grow your business. You're sustaining and growing your business. We do have a hostess tic-tac-toe for home parties that you can see in the album as well. So in the hostess coaching album. So that is that's actually going to be your best tool, is check out the graphics, because that pretty much breaks it down for the hostess, but it breaks it down for you, which I really like. I do like, if you have a hostess that's booked out a little bit further, then I always say, it's always nice, hey, let's put something down on the calendar, tentative date, and if you are able to keep this date, I will give you a price. Incentivizing your hostess, spoiling your hostess as much as possible within your budget, and it doesn't have to be big things, just anything so that they feel special and that they feel like you have, that you have tried, is really important. So anything that you can do to do that is highly recommended. So I do like doing that. If you are trying to get somebody to get something, trying to get a hostess to get a date, you can always, like I said, tentative date. If we can change it, it's okay. But usually, if you can have a tentative date, you're pretty good. And I don't hound my hostesses. I usually, touch, if it's further out. Oh my gosh, I can't even think. I reach out to them and like a few days before, a week before, and ask them if this date's still good, and kind of reiterate everything that we had talked about before. If you are incentivizing hostesses to book a party, make sure that you are giving them their gifts at the party. Wait till they are actually holding the party to give them their gift. You don't want to lose your hostess incentive, but with somebody who is not able to set a date, who keeps changing a date. But another reason why you want to do that is so that you're showing the guests, the hostess's guests, that they're going to get pampered. They're going to get spoiled if they host with you. So it's kind of thinking like, why would a customer want to choose you as their host or you as their consultant for orders? Think of that. Why would they want to host with you? What makes you special? What makes you the consultant they want to host an event with? So if you're a games person, throw in some games. If you're a laid back, ingredient person, tell them, show off the style of consultant you are. Now, I personally don't do a ton of games. In fact, I don't think I've ever really done a game. I've done one hosting game or booking game once. And that worked really well. I did get some stuff off of that, but it really just depends on your crowd. And I think that, and it depends on your personality. Some people are not necessarily extroverts, but they are social, and they like talking to people, and they love the social aspect of a home party. And I think that really shows through when they are hosting. When they are at a party, and I think that it really conveys to the consultant. So you guys it's just trial and error. But if you guys try your own home launch party and you get your friends and family or anyone in your warm market to help you out by hosting something, just so you can get more experience and kind of get into their warm market to expand your business, then it's a win-win, right? They're going to get something for helping you out. You're going to get something because you're going to get that experience and then hopefully expand your warm market. So those are the home party things. We can go into specifics if you guys want, but basically you want to make sure that you guys are booking off of your parties, any party, so online, portable, or Facebook. And the Facebook party is a little bit different. It's a little bit different because it depends on how you want to spin the incentives. Because for the most part, Facebook parties are going to be out-of-town people, right? So you want to make sure that they are in your VIP group. You want to make sure that you're keeping or building a relationship with them so that they have you as a resource. And I will show you guys the 30-minute mock party at some point so that you guys can kind of see how that's run. It looks like it could be really simple, but there are a lot of what a party is the preparation and the follow-up. Okay, so keep that in mind, is that you need to follow up with these guests and anybody that ordered, because if it's a one and done kind of thing, like if you just did one party, these guys ordered once and you're done, you're not going to talk to them anymore, then that's not beneficial. That's not going to help you. The whole point is to be able to grow your customer base. So you want to make sure that you are following up with these people as well, thanking them for ordering, treating them like you would if they placed an online order. Okay? Keep track of their likes, all that kind of stuff, right? Okay. If you guys have questions on any of this stuff, let me know. I'm kind of just babbling for a little bit, but okay, excuse me. Okay, so then let's talk about events. So vendor events are kind of my, I guess, bread and butter. This is what I started my Posh business with, and something that I feel like I don't know, I feel like I have it not necessarily down, but I feel like I've done lots of different events to kind of talk about my experience with it. But there are lots of different vendor events out there. Vendor events include like vendor mixers, boutiques, it's like any place that has central checkout, a like farmer's market, anytime there are multiple vendors in one place is a vendor event. This is what I'm categorizing as a vendor event, okay? You can find these vendor events through, there are Facebook pages that for specific areas. You can check the Chamber of Commerce in your local area. You can check out the different events that are going on in your area. Like if you know there's always some festival going on for your city days of something, right? Check to see if they do vendor events or vendor booths. They probably do, and so you want to check that out. Every place is different. Every vendor event is different. They're very hit or miss. So doing a big event doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to do well. It's probably more likely that you're going to have more traffic, but not necessarily higher sales. So and then like and then a cheaper vendor event, same thing, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to do less sales or you're going to do more sales because it's more intimate. It's so hit or miss. I've done events on both sides of the spectrum, so you have to go into events, and really parties for that matter, for the experience, for the networking, and just to get out there and to get your name out there. So the most important thing that you can really do at a vendor event and to expect is to network and to talk to people about Posh. If you can do what works best for you to get contact information. Whether it be a drawing slip, you can get one in the Posh box, which that's what I like to do because you can leave it out on the table. You can tell people, hey, I'm also doing a drawing, fill this out. Or if you want an invite to my VIP group, fill this out. I'll send you an invite. It's very, very simple, okay? And my whole goal with that is to get their email address and their phone number. Now, I'm not a huge phone talking person. I don't text or call a lot, but it is beneficial because sometimes you're going to have the people who are going to want to call you or who are going to want to text you. But email is great because this is how you're going to be able to get them onto your email newsletter list. This is how you're going to be able to send them hey, thanks for checking me out at this event. You've won a deluxe VIP sample. Be sure to join my VIP group to claim your prize, or something like that. Or, hey, thanks for coming to the event. Join my VIP group to learn more. Or, thanks for ordering the gender bender at the event. I hope you really liked it. Here's my VIP group. The whole point is that you want to be able to keep in touch with all these people, right? So vendor events, as with home parties and any other party, is that follow-up is incredibly important. Even if you only had 5 contacts, 5 leads from that event, that event was completely pointless if you did not follow up. And I have done it many a times where I do my event, I am so exhausted that I don't even think about it, after I'm done, and I'm so tired, mentally and physically exhausted, because it takes a lot out of you to do multi-day events, that I just put all my stuff away and I don't think about it. And then I forget that I have to do my follow-up. So keep in mind that you guys have to schedule that in. If you are doing a party or an event or whatever, make sure that you schedule in some time afterward to follow up, okay? So schedule in that prepping and the follow-up is really something I find helpful, so hopefully that's going to help you guys out. But yeah, so vendor events are super fun because this is where you're going to get into your cold market, for sure. Another way to find events is by talking to other people, other consultants, getting leads from anybody who's like, oh yeah, there was a boutique in my area the other day. That's something that I think you would be good at, or whatever, right? So this is where networking, like I said, comes into play, because either people know that you sell Posh, or they are running an event and they know that they need a Posh person, or someone's running an event and they know they need, So you gotta be friendly and talk to people and get social. And this is coming from me, where I'm like, I hate talking to people sometimes because it's exhausting, but it's fun. It's worth it, okay? All right. Yes, other people at an event you've been to or are at too. Yes, talk to the people that That's one of the things that kind of bugs me, is when you're at a vendor event and none of the vendors want to talk to each other. That is like so, I don't know. I'm just like, no, everybody should become best buds because you're all there to succeed. So if you're at a vendor event and maybe it's a dud of an event, talk to the consultants, talk to the other vendors and get to know them and kind of figure out, well, what events do work for them? Where are they looking for events? And that's really going to help you guys find other events. But yeah, I've been to events before where vendors don't talk to each other, and it's ridiculous. But I've also have a lot of great vendor friends that I have met through different vendor events that might have been completely horrible, but I've been able to get things off of them, like leads off of them, right? Yeah, that's actually something that I used to do too. Posh them. Even if they don't buy, they'll remember you. That's one of the things I did a lot when I first got started in events, because I did a lot of smaller events, was that I would give out a little sample to every single vendor there, and just be like, hey, when you're done here, here's this to kind of, pamper yourself and relax after this event, because it's exhausting. It's one of those things that if you've never done a vendor event before, make sure you bring snacks, make sure you bring plenty of water. It's extremely exhausting, and it's super fun though. But it's one of those things where your adrenaline's going the entire time, and then by the end of it, you're like, okay, I'm a lot more tired than I thought I was. But yeah, so talk to the vendors. Now, doing your event, that is something that you don't have to have cash and carry to do an event, okay? Stressing to you now, you might see a lot of people's, like a lot of premiere setups, but keep in mind that some of these people have been doing it for years. They have built up their stock. They have built up their displays. This is something that they focus on. This is their bread and butter of their business. So maybe that's why they have like the giant booth, the giant displays, lots of inventory. It's because they do it every weekend. They have an event every weekend. So keep that in mind. Not everybody is going to be able to do that. I actually don't even have a ton of inventory considering the events that I do. And some tips for you on that is, you don't need to keep a lot on hand. You don't need to have one of everything. Focus on a handful of products. Focus on like the Posh to Meet You sets or your favorites, and highlight those. We have a pretty massive catalog, so it's kind of a unnecessary. It's not easy to be able to keep in stock everything. If you decide you want to do cash and carry, a few cash and carry items is great. You don't have to have every single scent, because then, you're not, if you don't like a certain scent, maybe you're not going to talk about it, right? Sorry, my daughter needs me to open something for her. Okay. Nope, your cup. Sorry. Anyways, so if you don't have a lot of cash and carry on hand, something that you can do is offer free shipping for locals, because then you can just order it for yourself. Oh, careful. Order it to ship to you, and then you can deliver it to them locally. You can do a discount. You can do whatever you want, some sort of incentive so that they can place an order. Having a card reader on hand is also incredibly important, especially in this day and age where it's kind of ridiculous. It's hard. Not a lot of people have cash on hand. So that's something to be expected as well. But your biggest tool is going to be your contacts that you're going to get there, and then networking, okay? So those are kind of my tips for that. Do you guys have any questions, or is there anything that I did not go over that you guys have questions on? Alright, so let me see if I forgot anything. Yeah, this is kind of an overview. So obviously this might be a lot of information, or if it just barely touches the topics. But we're going to go more in depth, obviously. And you can find different trainings that will go more in depth on these different topics, or we can do them in the future as well. So let me know if you guys have any questions. Parties and events are a really great way for you to grow your warm market. Don't be afraid to ask somebody to host, okay? Don't be afraid to say, hey, I would love to start having Facebook parties. Would you help me out and host? Like, I really need the experience. I really want to try out this format, or I really want to try this. Do the same thing with home parties. Hey, I would love to have this girls' night, and help me out. Would you help me out? And I can, that thing. Don't be afraid to ask somebody to host an event for you. Don't be afraid to do one of your own. You can be the hostess. You don't necessarily need to have a hostess to do these things. You can do the online party yourself. You can do a mystery hostess. There are so many different ways to do it, but something that I just really want to stress is to not freak out and take advantage of the different incentives that we have, and the different deals that we have, and the different things that you get as a consultant to get hostesses and to incentivize people to host for you. All right. Okay. Does that help? Oh, one thing that I do want to mention before I forget is that portable parties and online parties, and home parties for that matter too, when you have a hostess, you can make it pretty simple for them. You can say, hey, you really like the BFF. If you can get 5 of your friends to purchase the BFF, I'll give you yours for free. Buy 5, get the 6, right? If you can you could set up an event so Sinead did this before, and she said, for a customer that was obsessed with the Snarky bars, she said that everybody that ordered in that event would get $1 off the Snarky bars. And that worked really well because the hostess absolutely was obsessed with the Snarky bars and knew that her friends would be obsessed with it too. So she shared with them that specific product, and then obviously people went in and didn't necessarily buy just one item. They bought more than one item. So there are different ways you can do it so that you can break it down for the hostess so that they can be earning rewards and different incentives without being overwhelming, because giving them an entire catalog and being like, okay, go out there, show people this stuff, can be very overwhelming. So if you can just break it down and be like, hey, let's show people your favorites, right? What's your favorite bundle? What's your, give me 6 of your favorites or 3 of your favorites. Create some sort of bundle that they can show to their guests, that they can very easily be like, do you want one? You want one? You want one? Okay, done, right? Okay, cool, Carrie. I'm glad. Yeah, you don't need a ton of products for cash and carry. If you are going to be doing bigger events, obviously it would help to have more cash and carry. It also just depends on your area. If you have different consultants in your area, you can always join up and do, all of you guys do the booth together and split the profits. So you guys all bring in inventory, and that really helps out as well. But I was actually very surprised because I used to do I did events by myself for years before I found locals that I was like, oh, let's do an event together. And I was super surprised at seeing all of their inventory because mine was like a baby inventory compared to theirs. So I've seen it all. I've seen people who don't do cash and carry. I've seen people who do huge cash and carry, and then I'm kind of in the middle. Charlie, what was it that you did? Your hostess had almost $500 party in less than 24 hours. Okay, that is crazy nuts. What did you do? Share just the one product or the bundle product, I assume? Sorry, there's a lag, so. But yeah, so, hostess faves. Okay, yeah, like a hostess faves bundle. I love doing that with my hostesses. I ask them to give me 6 of their favorites, or if not even 6, 3 of their favorites, and I create a custom Hostess Faves bundle that I advertise for their party, and that anyone who purchased that bundle gets that deal, whatever deal it is. It might not be a huge thing, but it's something that the hostess is very passionate about. They can talk about it, and that their guests are going to be way more like trusting of, right? All right. Does anyone have any questions or anything else to add? All right. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I know that it's not as in-depth. If you guys want more like high-level training, obviously we're going to get into that, but I wanted to go over basics for those newbies because we do have a lot of newbies, which is awesome, but that just means that we're all catching up, right? And I know that a lot of people haven't, like, home parties have been going down because of that, but, like, because of the rise of social media. But home parties are super, like, the way to go, really, because you spend an hour or two at a home party. Basically, you're just hanging out with new friends, and then you can come away with a huge party, which gives you huge commission in one night. So it really is worth it, even if you're like, oh my gosh, that means I have to go out, I have to do this, and I have to do that. It's totally worth it. How are you able to offer the discounts? So, Carrie, you can have a customer place, okay, so it depends on how you do it. So if you're doing like a discount of some sort, you can always have them split pay in an event, and then you go in and add that extra whatever it was. So if they like had 10% off or something, then you can go in and add that, have them pay minus whatever that discount is. So if it's like $2 off a Snarky bar, then have them pay minus $2 of that Snarky bar, and then you go in and pay that extra $2 and then put in that order. Or you can send them a PayPal invoice for the amount, or not, it doesn't have to be PayPal, but an invoice of some kind in the amount that you're charging them, and then you put in the order yourself. So there's different ways on how you can do it. Does that help? Okay, well, I hope that helps. Alright, I'm going to end this meeting. Okay, good. I'm glad that helped. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to get off now. I can, like, feel my allergies coming back. If you guys have questions, if you guys are doing events and you guys, I'd love to see how you guys are doing it because everyone does it differently. So be sure to use the hashtags and just share in general. I'd love to see it. If something worked really well for you, let's celebrate with you and kind of bounce ideas off of each other. If you guys have any questions after this, if you guys are watching this later, let me know. You can always reach out to your sponsor. You can reach out to me, reach out to the home team page, and we are here to help you guys. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful night.